Okay, I guess we're all live. Welcome, y'all. Hey, everybody. This is Mike from Mike's Magic Resto Detailing and Paint Enhancement here in a sunny Sharpsburg, Georgia. Yeah, well, we're just going to do a brief one today. I wanted to close this series out. What we have here is the hardtop from I forget what year Dodge Viper, and according to my owner, who is not the original owner, you could not get a hardtop on this year's Viper. If you wanted one, I guess it was a convertible. If you wanted one, you had to order it at the dealership. The dealer had to order it from an outside company who shipped it to them, not painted, and then the dealership painted it and I guess installed it for you or whatever. Well, the problem was in this situation, this was a horrible, terrible paint job. There was trash under the base coat, trash on top of the base coat and under the clear coat, and trash in the clear coat, as well as you pick all the paint defects, names you can think of, this top had it. It had a lot of gloss and shine, but there were shiny scratches and shiny defects. Oh man, so what I did, after a thorough examination and assessment, I started out right there with some 3000 Trizac discs, sanding disc. They call them damp sanding, and it didn't do much. So then I dropped back down to the 1000 or 1K as we call it, and that seemed to do the trick. So I did the entire lid, as I call it, with the 1000K. Then I went back and did it with the 3000K, and then I went back again and did it with the 5000K, and then I used a forced rotation dual action polisher, hey Mr. Roy Garner, with a wool pad, and did what they call the paint correction phase. And then after that, I took my rotary and I used a very soft black pad and a finishing polish, and I polished it as good as I could get it. And then, since all those steps, Roy, are pretty much what you need to do or should do before you apply ceramic coating, and I had some left over from doing my car, so I decided, even though the rest of the car is not coated, I decided to go ahead and ceramic coat this thing, which I put on this morning. It's cured to the touch now. Not supposed to get it wet for 6 hours. Not supposed to wash it or anything like that for at least 6 days. Oh, 2 people watching. Bring them on camera. What is this? I don't know what all that means. So the ceramic coating has been curing since this morning, and I just wanted to show you guys, you know, this thing was awful looking. Whenever you got up this close, you could see all the paint nibs, you could see the scratching, you could see the runs in the paint. It was terrible. Looked like they painted it in somebody's backyard. I think I could have done a better job of painting it out in the driveway with a rattle can, Roy. It was one of the worst paint jobs I have ever seen. And believe me, I've seen quite a few. I've seen many Mako paint jobs that were way better than this one was. I would have been embarrassed to send this out of my shop. But anyway, did all that, paint correction, paint enhancement, polishing, sanding, all that stuff, put the ceramic coating on, and now what I want to do is get a little closer. Can't get any closer than that. Seems to change the color from a yellow to an orange on my camera. I don't know what y'all are seeing, but we'll move around and I'll try to keep the light where that LED up there, which is specially designed for this kind of work. And there's still some spots on here. This thing is not perfect by any means, and as I often say, you should not chase perfection. But for example, right there, I don't know if y'all can see that paint nib, but you cannot feel it, so that means it's under the clear coat at least, and perhaps under, see that one right there, under the base coat, which tells me they did not clean the substrate before they sprayed it, and then when they got ready to do the clear coat, they didn't clean it then either. They just sprayed right over it, and then of course they got some trash in the clear coat itself once it was sprayed. So that stuff that's under the clear coat, you can't do anything about. Now the stuff that's on top of it, I was able to get rid of, and I'd say I got rid of 99%. And then the ceramic coating, Roy just sets it off. I mean, it is slick, buddy. I'm telling you what, it is slick, and it will be much easier to maintain and keep clean, which you do have to maintain a ceramic coating properly if you want them to last. This one will last for years and years because it spends its life, as of right now, most of the time indoors. Now, somebody's flying in from California to look at this car and interested in purchasing it, and if they do, I don't know what they're going to do with it out there, but I suspect it will continue to spend most of its life indoors, except for maybe going to car shows, that kind of thing, events, blah, blah, blah. And that's okay. But, you know, Roy, mostly all you need to do for a car like this that doesn't sit outside on a regular basis like my car does out there most of the time, because I have other people's cars in here, all I would do to clean this in the future would to be either a rinseless wash or a waterless wash. They are not the same thing. If it's just dusty fingerprints, that sort of thing, I would use the waterless wash. You know, if it rained on it or something like that, and you got in some contaminants on it, then I would use the rinseless wash and maybe a chemical water spot remover if you ended up with some of them, and that's all you would have to do. Put a top coat of some sort on there, and I will put a top coat on it later today so that when he comes to pick it up tomorrow, it will have a sacrificial layer between the environment and the coating. Make sense? Does that make sense? Hey, hi David King, I'm doing fine, brother, doing fine. This same customer who has brought me many a vehicle, mostly classics, he's interested in getting his truck that he used to haul these things all over the country, and when he goes to buy one, haul them home, he wants to get it ceramic coated as well. I did some work on it a couple months ago, but he didn't spring for the coating, and now he wants the coating, but that was months ago. And even though I've already done a lot of the heavy lifting on that truck, it's basically I'm gonna have to start from scratch. That's okay. You know, he got the money, I got the time. Not my truck. I'm just trying to show you guys this thing. I wish you could be here and feel this. Man, that is smoother than a piece of glass. Ooh, man. And I would do the slide test, but I don't like those because A, they scratch your paint, or the coating in this case. At least they'd be scratching the coating and not the paint because of that protective layer. It'll help some with those micro scratching to protect your clear coat, but it won't prevent scratching. Ceramic coatings can scratch, but the very light scratches most of the time are at least in the coating, in my opinion, and not the clear coat. It doesn't take much to go through the ceramic coating to the clear coat. So anybody that tells you a ceramic coating prevents scratches is not telling you the truth. If they tell you it will prevent water spots, again, not true. Ceramic coatings have advantages, many advantages, but they also have their drawbacks. There's some things they just won't do and can't do, regardless of the marketing and advertising hype you see in a lot of these ads. And I'm going to tell you something, folks. If you want a true ceramic coating similar to this or like this, if it comes in a spray bottle, it's not a true ceramic coating. I'm telling you. There's some pretty good stuff that comes in those spray bottles, but it does not most of the time have the shine gloss of one of these, nor will it have the longevity of a true ceramic coating. That I can guarantee you 100%. But man, I like this. This is DPC flashback on here. I used it because I had some left over from doing my car, playing around, and he's not paying for the ceramic coating anyway. I just did it for fun and just to see how it would turn out. And what I like about the flashback, particularly this time of year, Mr. King, is that it doesn't care how hot it is in my garage. It just doesn't care. You put it on, you leave it on for 10 minutes, and then you buff it to perfection, as they say. Level it out and remove the excess. And then you just leave it alone. The other coatings, you have to worry about flash times depending on temperature, humidity, that sort of thing. The only thing flashback cares about is the temperature, the surface temperature of the paint or the clear coat. And it doesn't care a whole lot about that. It does affect the flash time, wipe off time a little bit if this is too hot. But as long as this is cool or barely warm to the touch, shit, just put it on, give it a minimum of 10 minutes, and then wipe it off. You can do entire panels at a time. Unlike some of the other coatings, you have to do a small area, wait for it to flash, wipe it off, do another small area, same thing, same thing, same thing. And then you have to go back and make sure you're not leaving hot spots or streaks, mainly on the borders of those areas where it's merging together, or that has been my experience. Some of those other coatings can be a little tricky to install, particularly in adverse weather and temperature conditions. Now I have somewhat of a climate control in my garage. I have air conditioning, I have heat, so sometimes it's not as big an issue for me, but it's been so hot out there, my little AC unit, it couldn't keep up. So I went with the flashback the last couple of go-rounds, really. And that's probably what I'll put on his truck if he decides to leave it. But hey, I appreciate you guys dropping by, taking time out of your busy days. Check this out. Hoo-wee. Like, tag, share, follow, subscribe, all that stuff. I do appreciate y'all. Still having fun here in Sharpsburg, Georgia. Y'all take care now.